Hi, I'm Natalie Siegel. I'm a licensed independent social worker, and today we're going to talk about coping with COVID. I would say the hardest thing about the pandemic and what has been happening is there's a lot of fear of the unknown. There's a lot of isolation. There's a lot of things that aren't the same as they were last year. So seasons, holidays, big moments in life are coming up, and it's not the same as it was for other people, or it's not the same as it was last year. So there's a lot of loss that people are having to mourn and come to terms with. But there's also a lot of stress that's just piled up on top of all the other things. So I've been to a couple of trainings recently, and they've really been talking about that everybody is experiencing trauma from the pandemic, because this is something that most people have not experienced in their lifetime. So everybody is learning how to cope with it, and some people aren't the best at coping with things in general. So when you're already stressed and there's more stress layered on top of it, it makes it difficult to be able to pull through. I think oftentimes people feel hopeless. They feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. So I think it's just a combination of not being able to see friends, not being able to see family, not going back to school. Some kids have gone back to school, some kids haven't. Some kids have gone to school and then have come back home. So I know that teachers are not the same. It's really affected them and how they teach. Some parents are having to work from home and have their children home, and I know that that's a stressor. So there's just a lot of stress, and it often feels like there's not any end in sight. So that makes it really difficult to continue to get up every day and have motivation to keep going. So in regards to coping with stress, there are a lot of things that, people talk about all the time, but there are some key points that I have been utilizing in my life, because I'm not immune from the stress that everyone has been experiencing either. And so the first one that I literally share with anybody, because I feel like it's something you can do in the moment, and I feel like it's something, if you're at school, you can do it and nobody knows what you're doing. So it's not like an outward jumping jack where you can't necessarily stand up in class and just do a jumping jack. So it's called 4-7-8 breathing technique, and there is research that says it has been proven to help stop panic attacks. So that's something that I know for myself personally. I've experienced a lot more anxiety in this pandemic than I ever have my entire life. So this is something, anytime I feel those anxious symptoms coming on, I use this technique to help calm down. And so you breathe in for 4. So you breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. You hold for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and breathe out for 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you do it 3 times. It's a little hard to do it and count at the same time. I'm sure I looked a little funny, but that's something that you can do just at your desk. It's something you can do as anybody. It's effective for adults and for adolescents and for children. It's just a way to kind of stop what you're doing in the moment and take a deep breath and just be focused on the here and now, and not have the weight of everything else just hanging over you. So people who are experiencing isolation, whether it's prolonged or it's happening, it's a new recent thing because they've been sent home to quarantine. One big thing is still being connected. There's many ways to be connected, especially in today's technology world, that you can have relationships with people even if they're in a different state, or if they are even just down the street, to help prevent contact. So there's many ways to do that. There's, all the social media platforms. There is, we have a Facebook portal. We set it up. My 2-year-old runs around and loves to call grandma and then run around the house, and the portal picks up the whole house. So there's lots of ways. This year, because we can't go home for Thanksgiving, we are doing a Zoom call with our family. So there's many ways. So ways to encourage hope, first and foremost, would be to pray. That's something that I have really strengthened in this time, is my ability to pray when I'm stressed. I used to default into anger, but now I've really conditioned myself to default into prayer first, and then that helps to guide me through any other issue that I'm going through. I think there's lots of other really great ways to help yourself feel better. Journaling, practicing gratitude every day, saying what you're thankful for, thanking the Lord for what He gave you every day, and writing that down. There's proven science around gratitude, and it just helps you to feel more hopeful when you're able to see the things that you are blessed with in your life versus the things that you don't have. There's also mindfulness. There's lots of research on mindfulness and how helpful it is. So another quick activity that I like to share with anyone, teens, parents, literally anybody, is it's called 5-4-3-2-1 mindfulness, and it's where you sit and you focus on 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can smell, 2 things you can touch, and 1 thing you can taste. And so that really helps you to just be centered, and it goes back to the breathing technique I shared. It really just helps you to not have the weight of everything that's happening, the stressors that are coming, because we have this big pandemic weight, but then we also have just the daily stressors because we're still going about our day-to-day lives. That helps you to be grounded in the moment and helps you to have clarity on what the next task needs to be. Instead of feeling so overwhelmed with 8 homework assignments, it helps you to really just be present in the moment and let me figure out what little task can I tackle first and then move on to all the other ones.
Great, thank you so much.
You're welcome.